Coming up on OU Nightly, 2 measles cases reported in Oklahoma, the response from the state health department, and the Russia-Ukraine conflict comes to halt after both sides agree to a ceasefire. What happens next? Plus, a health report on the Cleveland County Jail won't be released. We tell you why. The Oklahoma State Department of Health says the first cases of measles here in the state have been reported to the CDC. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Hallie McPherson.
And I'm Olivia Hayes. OU Nightly reporter Abigail Franklin is live from the OU Nightly newsroom with the latest information. Abby, what can you tell us?
Olivia, Hallie, what we know right now is that the Oklahoma State Department of Health says that 2 people are showing classic symptoms related to measles after exposure in current outbreak areas in West Texas and New Mexico. At this time, the department says there is no public health threat in connection to these cases.
These individuals are technically classified and reported to CDC as probable cases because they did not have test results to have that extra level of confidence, but it doesn't mean that we are not sure and that these meet a measles case criteria.
Now, we do want to note that we do not know any specifics on these probable cases, like the ages of the individuals. However, the state health officials say that the 2 people have stayed out of the public during their contagious phase. This is going to be an ongoing story, and we'll be following it for you. Live in the newsroom, Abigail Franklin, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Abby. Symptoms to watch out for can include a high fever, cough, runny nose, and red watery eyes. These symptoms transition after 3 to 5 days to a rash, which usually begins as flat red spots on the face at the hairline, but then spreads to the neck, arms, legs, and feet.
Norman police say the death of an OU rugby player is now being investigated as a homicide, but officials say the medical examiner will make the final call. Police say they arrived to a parking lot on Boyd Street March 2nd to find Joe Powell, who later died from his injuries. They believe his injuries are the result of a fight. Officers say all people believed to be involved have been contacted by investigators, but no arrests have been made. If you have a video of the fight, you're asked to call Norman PD.
The Cleveland County District Attorney's Office says it will not release a new report into inmate deaths at the Cleveland County Detention Center. The jail says 6 inmates have died at the jail since the beginning of 2024. The DA's office says the report is protected by attorney-client privilege. A county spokesperson tells OU Nightly, under Oklahoma state law, the sheriff is ultimately responsible for the jail's daily operations and maintenance. Commissioners pray the sheriff will take his legal responsibility seriously.
The Oklahoma Supreme Court is blocking State Superintendent Ryan Walters' requests for Bibles. The decision was made Monday by the Supreme Court not only blocks the State Department's bid for purchasing Bibles, but the curriculum that goes with it. Earlier this year, Walters planned to purchase 55,000 Bibles for 5th through 12th grade classrooms. This ruling comes less than a week after Walters announced his partnership with musician Lee Greenwood to raise money for these Bibles.
The U.S. and Ukraine in a high-stakes discussion to end the war with Russia. OU Nightly's Reagan Garvin has that and the rest of today's national and international headlines from the OU Nightly News Center.
Hallie, today Ukraine agreed to a 30-day ceasefire after a discussion between top U.S. and Ukrainian officials in Saudi Arabia. This comes at the same time the U.S. lifted the pause on military aid and intel sharing to Ukraine, and just 2 weeks after an explosive Oval Office meeting between President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky. Both presidents were absent for today's meeting. And House Republicans are hoping to get a spending bill across the finish line today to avoid a potential government shutdown Friday.
No one wants to shut the government down, and we are governing, doing the responsible thing as Republicans.
The bill would give funding through the fiscal year, cuts in domestic spending, and add funds for defense and immigration enforcement. House Democrats say they are united against the plan. And Canada has suspended the 25% surcharge on electricity exports to the U.S. This comes hours after President Trump threatened to double his tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum to 50%, which is set to take effect tomorrow. In 2 days, U.S. and Canadian leaders are expected to renegotiate their free trade treaty. And the National Transportation Safety Board issues urgent safety recommendations following January's deadly plane crash in Washington, D.C. Ladies.
Thank you, Reagan. For student pilots, safety is always a top priority. But when real-world accident happens, how does that affect their confidence? OU Nightly's Sam Mangan speaks to students about the impact.
Flying comes with risks. Student pilots are constantly reminded of the importance of safety. When accidents happen, they serve as constant lessons for those learning to take to the skies.
Just knowing that no matter what stage in your flight training or in your career you may be in, accidents and incidents can still happen to you no matter what.
With safety at the core of every flight lesson, student pilots are trained to handle risks. But when a real-world tragedy happens, does it shake their confidence in the skies?
Oh, they definitely do. But with that, there's always room for improvement. In any situation, good or bad, there's always something to learn from them.
Accident reminds student pilots of aviation risks, but instructors work hard to keep them prepared. I spoke with the flight instructor about how they help students regain confidence after a tragedy.
It can kind of shake students up. You'd be scared, obviously, when a tragedy like this happens. But just really making sure to keep them grounded.
As the aviation community processes these incidents, the focus now is how to make the skies safer.
I think the community can just come together and support each other. And changes will likely come out of this accident, as they do with most accidents. So just supporting the people around you.
In aviation, training, awareness, and teamwork are key because keeping the skies safe is always a shared effort. From Norman, Sam Mangan, OU Nightly.
Thank you, Sam. The National Transportation Safety Board announces today the ban of certain helicopter flights near Reagan National Airport.
It is feeling sensational outside, but this weather comes with a slight risk.
OU Nightly meteorologist Joel Robinson is live in studio to tell us more about a possible fire danger. Joel?
Yeah, ladies, we're tracking some pretty dry air outside. We're actually looking for the air to be a little bit drier, especially as we head into the next couple of days. Currently, we're tracking what's called a dry line. That's a boundary between warm, moist air and warm, dry air. That is expected to move into the central parts of Oklahoma as we head into the next couple of days. And yes, we'll have some nice weather conditions, but it will drive our winds up, and the combination of wind and dry air is going to make for the risk for fires to exist. So we'll break that down in your forecast coming up. But for now, back to you.
Thanks, Joel. With St. Patty's Day right around the corner, we know you may be looking for a lucky charm.
After the break, find out how this week's Pet of the Week could help you strike gold. And it's football time in Oklahoma. That is for some Sooners hoping to show themselves off to the NFL scouts.
Yeah, Olivia, I was actually there. Stick around to hear my full story on Pro Day in Norman. Today's Pet of the Week has quite a spirit. She loves her toys and hopes to find a new home with you. OU Nightly's Emma McAndrews introduces you to Vixen.
It's March once again, which just means it's the month of luck, and you're definitely going to strike gold with this week's Pet of the Week. Now, it's not this big guy, but get ready to meet Vixen, who will definitely make the perfect lucky charm. Vixen has been at the shelter for nearly 5 months.
She came in back in November, so she's been here for a while, but that has not dampened her spirit.
Despite her long stay, Vixen is ready to find a home.
I would feel comfortable exposing her to a variety of types of homes.
And Vixen even has her own little game.
She will throw her own toy. So one of her favorite moves is to toss that toy up over her head and go chase it.
And of course, staff say she's a huge fan of stuffed animals. Some might call her a collector.
So we're really rooting hard for her, for someone to come and meet her and get her out of here so she can really be everything who she is in a home collecting her little stuffies.
Now, my friend here, he's not up for adoption, but Vixen sure is. So if you're looking for the perfect clover for your patch, Vixen is free to adopt, and you can take her home today. Reporting from Norman, I'm Emma McAndrews.
In the month of March, all adoptions are $17, and anyone that has been there longer than 30 days is always free to adopt. 1 week later, Ada is still patching up after disaster struck here in Oklahoma.
Find out how first responders are planning to rebuild and recover their second home next.
And dry air and gusty winds are what we're tracking. Find out in your forecast coming up. You're watching OU Nightly. Welcome back to OU Nightly. Man, it is a gorgeous day outside. It is very dry, but we are seeing plenty of sunshine out there. Weather Center cam looking beautiful. Plenty of sunshine, lots of blue skies, and we are very warm too. Temperatures in the upper 70s, 78 for us outside for us. Only a humidity of 19% though, so very dry, and the winds are a little bit breezy out of the south at about 16 miles per hour. Current temperatures over the majority of Oklahoma are in the upper 70s to low 80s, so a gorgeous day to be outside. Current dew points though, this is a measure of moisture. The dew points are in the middle 30s, just ahead of this dry line that we're going to be tracking over the next few days, and then just behind that they're in the 20s, so much drier air off to our west, so we'll be continuing to track that as we move forward, but the dry air is what's really going to give us those sunny conditions going forward. Your fire weather risk, as I mentioned before, the dry air and the gusty winds that we're going to be tracking is going to do a little bit of a number on our fire weather risk. Tuesday is going to be near critical. Wednesday and Thursday, not as much of a risk, but it's still elevated, but our big day is going to be Friday with an extreme risk that we're going to be watching for. And here's why. As we look at our current wind gusts, we're in the upper 20 mile per hour range, maybe even some low 30s here and just around the area. So not too bad so far, but as we go into the future, we'll watch as some dry air makes its way in. We'll be waking up with wind gusts in the 16 to 20 mile per hour range as we go through Thursday morning, upper 30s, maybe some lower 40s. Here comes that dry air, and as we head into Friday, this is where the numbers go way up. We got wind gusts in between 50 and 60 miles per hour, and then we'll be diminishing finally as we go into Saturday, luckily. But that's what's really going to be driving our fire weather risk going forward. Our regional view of temperatures now. Wednesday, we're expected to start our day in the 50s. As we go through the afternoon, upper 70s. And then go through Thursday morning, 47 degrees. As we go into Thursday afternoon, low 70s. And then one more day, Friday, we'll be starting our temperatures in the 50s, and then wind gusts to 50 to 60 miles per hour as we go into Friday afternoon. So we're really tracking that. And here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Beautiful weather going forward. Then we got that cool down on Saturday, and we have a lunar eclipse on Friday morning. It's going to be an early one though. 1 to 5 a.m. is the time frame. So.
Wow. We'll definitely have to stay up a little later, and hopefully we can catch a little bit of it.
Yeah, I hope so too. I do have a midterm, so we'll see what happens.
All right, thank you so much, Joel.
You bet.
Some Oklahomans are still seeing the effects after a tornado hit Ada a week ago today. OU Nightly reporter Cassidy Martin reports from Union Valley.
The Oklahoma wind blows through what's left of the Union Valley Volunteer Fire Department. Its damage, Clay Horton says he couldn't have imagined.
Thought I would be cutting tree limbs and trees off the road and things like that, and pulled in the driveway, and the building was on top of the trucks.
Now, he and the other first responders aren't sure what they'll do if a different type of disaster strikes. Clay told me that their station, which covers the residents in Union Valley, is out of commission.
Lockers were all here, and the office started about right here and was, you can almost see it was about this wide, and there was 5 trucks in here.
Now, right here is what the Union Valley Fire Department currently looks like. But as Clay and I were retracing his steps back from Tuesday morning, he told me that this moment actually feels bittersweet.
It might be a year or so before it's actually inhabitable, but this may speed things up. You know, it's motivation.
The plan now is to rebuild across the street, something that could take up to a year. In Union Valley, Cassidy Martin,
OU Nightly.
Thank you, Cassidy. Volunteer stations near Union Valley are currently working together to help the community during the rebuilding process. With March Madness approaching, one Sooner team looks to lock in their tournament bid.
And one OU gymnast just made an amazing senior night even better.
A former Sooner fan favorite finds themselves suspended. And OU seniors put on a show today in anticipation for the NFL draft. See who made the biggest waves with the Scouts next in sports. Hello, I'm Kevin Daniel, and it's time for sports. Get your mock drafts and scouting boards out. The Sooners hosted their pro day today as the NFL draft is right around the corner. OU Nightly's Hallie McPherson has an up-close and personal look at today.
At this year's Pro Day, top OU prospects like Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman didn't show off too much, but that gave other players time to shine. Let me walk you through an NFL Pro Day here in Norman.
Danny Stutzman set out for all of the events, but did participate in the bench press, recording 22 reps, leading all of these Sooners. Oklahoma native Trace Ford jumped the highest vertical with a whopping 36 inches. Ford also showed off his speed, leading the Sooners in Pro Day with a 4.55 in the 40-yard dash. While Billy Bowman didn't participate in any of the events, he came to support his former teammates and wait to hear his name be called in the NFL draft.
Just waiting for, private workouts to be scheduled with, specific coaches and things like that. So thought I'd just come out here and, support my teammates, support the guys that's going through the same process with me. Although, I'd love to do stuff, but, it's the smartest thing to do right now, just continue to go throughout the process.
These Sooners are hopeful to be picked on April 24th for this year's NFL draft. Reporting from the Everest Training Center, Hallie McPherson, OU Nightly.
With all that defensive talent getting scouted for the NFL draft, OU fans might wonder what to expect from Brent Venables calling the defensive plays for Team 131. Linebacker Kobe McKenzie is confident in his coach's expertise.
Why would you be? I wasn't surprised. Why would you be? Why not do something that you're good at? It's like what you do for your job. Why would you not do it?
Former OU and current Los Angeles Rams receiver Drake Stoops has been suspended for the first 2 games of the season after violating the NFL's performance-enhancing substances policy, according to NFL insider Tom Pelissero. Like the song says, while Istanbul may be nobody's business but the Turks, college gymnastics awards may fall into the same category, as OU gymnast and Turkish Olympian Emre Dodonali is named a finalist for the Nissan Emery Award for the most outstanding senior gymnast. It was a senior night to remember for Jordan Bowers, as her final meet in the Lloyd Noble Center resulted in an SEC Gymnast of the Week award. Her 9.975 on bars and beam made things even sweeter. But the Sooners aren't ready to vault off into the sunset just yet, taking on number 9 Georgia on Friday. Following a sweep in OU softball's first SEC series, Gabby Garcia earned the SEC Co-Freshman of the Week award for her 2 home runs and walk-off double. She's now the first Sooner to homer in 5 consecutive games since Jocelyn Allo in 2018. The pressure keeps cooking for OU men's basketball as the SEC tournament gives them a chance to erase all doubt about making the NCAA tournament. The Sooners face Georgia, a team they already lost to in January, tomorrow at 8:30.
After the break, one organization is making sure some Oklahoma teens get their Cinderella story.
Find out exactly how when we return.
I'm Nikki Womack at the OU Nightly Update Desk. The city of Oklahoma City is now one step closer to a new downtown arena. Today, city councilors approved a contract with 2 construction companies, Flintco and Mortensen. In a statement, OKC's program manager calls the approval a major milestone for the project. Demolition to make way for the arena is expected to start this month, with construction starting next year. Hallie, Olivia.
Thanks, Nikki. Restored Hearts and Souls in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma is giving Oklahoma teens a night to remember.
68 girls found the dresses of their dreams at this year's prom dress drive. Organizers say girls from more than 30 cities attend their event, but it only takes one to make the event worth it. Community members donated more than 800 dresses, shoes, and accessories for the girls. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching OU Nightly. I'm Olivia Hayes.
And I'm Hallie McPherson. Be sure to watch OU Nightly weekdays at 4:30. Good night.